Hi guys, good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be discussing what I thought of the latest episode of AMC's The Walking Dead. Yikes. Oof. This was a dark one. And they've had some dark moments in the show before, but this is probably one of their darkest, if not the darkest episode. Before I begin, of course, full spoiler warning, this is going to be a spoiler-filled episode review. Again, if you're not caught up on The Walking Dead by this episode or the past couple episodes, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be going into spoilers and plot details. So, once again, you have been warned. Spoilers from here on out starting now. Yikes! Well, I finally got some answers about what the hell happened to Michonne and Daryl, and why she had taken this isolationist attitude that she has had for the past, 10 or so episodes now, since episode 6, I believe. She went through some horrendous, dark stuff, some things that no one should ever have to go through. Although, when you see the trauma and horror that she and Daryl went through, it's not that surprising and quite understandable why she did what she did. I mean, in the apocalypse, she's reunited with a long-lost friend. Somebody sounds like from high school or college. Someone she was very close to. And she has a group of kids, some refugees. They come into Alexandria. They intermingle with the kids of Alexandria, which includes a young Judith. And Michonne is super pregnant with RJ. And then it turns out she's this survivalist psychopath who's hardening and conditioning these children into being emotionless, unfeeling survivalist predators, basically. Just killing machines. Like, she had conditioned them to a point where they would just kill at her command. And she thought she was, like, doing them a favor by hardening them. And then they branded Daryl and Michonne. Like, I didn't fully understood why they felt like they had to brand Daryl and Michonne. Maybe it was to punish. Maybe Jocelyn thought she was punishing Michonne. It's like, hey, you're letting these kids and everyone in Alexandria live a soft, good life when really the world is hard and it is vicious, and I got to remind you of that. And then I loved how they did the editing in this episode. Like, when it cuts to past and present, in the present we see Michonne cutting through a horde of walkers. In the past, she's basically cutting through those kids. And obviously, it's a little hard to show killing a child of any kind on TV. But I thought it was clever how, it was very much implied that she was cutting her way through these evil children whenever they cut back to her cutting through some walkers. And I thought to myself, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense. This explains her new attitude and why the community's fractured the way that she did. The communities may not know why Michonne cut Alexandria off, but I think if the communities didn't know, then maybe Maggie must have been told or figured it out at some point, because they kept implying that Michonne and Maggie did not part on good terms at all. And I don't know if if Maggie knew the details, like if she knew Michonne had slaughtered children, or maybe she was just resentful of the fact Michonne basically cut herself and Alexandria off from the other communities, which led to the rest of them becoming increasingly distant from each other, physically and mostly metaphorically. But this episode did explain a lot. The Walking Dead usually does a pretty good job answering those questions that we're left with for like a couple of episodes, and then they'll have one episode where they'll give us a clear answer. And I thought they did a good job doing that. I also enjoyed the Negan and Michonne scene, where Negan, in a weird way, paid her a compliment by saying she's like her mother, where she doesn't take shit lying down. And I like how Michonne was a little thrown off, like, did you just compliment me? And I actually said to myself out loud, did he just compliment her? But I like how Negan also expresses what seems to be a genuine concern for Judith's safety, which is admirable, I think. But yeah, this episode was just intense. It definitely had this Children of the Corn vibe, because it was instantly reminded of that Stephen King movie, Children of the Corn, with murderous, nefarious children with blades and weapons trying to hurt adults. I mean, my God, what an experience to go through for both Daryl and Michonne. But God, and I love the fact it's such a bitter irony that Michonne now wants to reintegrate herself to the other communities, but it could not be coming at a worse time, because by the end of this episode, we see two Whisperers looking out, spying on the kingdom's gates, and like, we have to tell Alpha about this. So now, of course, they're setting us up for probably something very bad, very horrible that's going to happen at the fair. But only 2 episodes left, you guys. Next Sunday's episode and the Sunday after that will be the big season finale. So who knows what's going to come. Yeah, this episode just, wow. I mean, there have been some dark moments on this show, shit that I rewatch, and it's still hard to sit through it. But this one was definitely, I think, one of those too. I mean, I love the tragedy behind it. The tragedy being you're reacquainted with a long lost friend, someone you knew before the world went to shit, and someone you thought you knew really well, and then they turn out to be a completely different person, a complete monster, and then you're forced to kill them, saving yourself and then saving your child, and then you're forced to kill other children while saving your own children. That was just, I just thought that was such a great idea. They were putting a twist on a tragedy where you're reacquainted with a long lost friend and they turn out to be a completely different person, someone you wouldn't even recognize, or you couldn't even fathom they would do something like this, which is why Michonne became so extra defensive and paranoid, because she just stopped trusting anybody, strangers or allies. But I love how Judith basically walked her back from the brink, as they say, out of the mouth of babes. And I like that Michonne is now trying to embrace a new united front again. But we'll see how long that lasts. Well, guys, what did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you expecting more, expecting less? Are you clear as to exactly what happened and why it happened? And if not, sound off down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, 2 episodes are left of this season of The Walking Dead. Both episodes air Sunday nights on AMC. Don't miss them. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.